Okay guys, we have a portion of the PDF file that I gave you. It has been downloaded here. If you don't have it, I suggest you grab it. I'm going to go over a little bit of it right now. You're going to see here that we have the brush, the pencil, and the faux. We are going to be touching on the pencil, but before we touch on the pencil, we have to learn a few other tricks. In your PDF, you also were given some graph paper. Feel free to download and make as many copies of this as you'd like. I often like to use tracing paper. You are welcome to give it a try. One of the things that we are going to be touching on are the 3 different pens that we're going to be using, or rather, utensils. I have a pencil, I have the Sharpie, and a brush pen. I will put on the screen the multiple brush pens that I really like using. This happens to be one of them. This is a Pentel Touch. You're going to notice it's a small brush tip. I really suggest not using your large brush tips pens for this project at this time. It is extremely important that you learn these various skills before going to the large brush pen, because it is much more difficult to manipulate. This is much easier to try and gain control. Once you have the control, then move yourself back up so that you can use the large brush pen, okay? There are quite a few steps that we're going to be learning, but we're going to start with the basics and work our way up. We're going to build on our skills as we go. The very first thing that we're going to learn are actually various strokes. The number one rule when learning your strokes is to go slowly. If you think you're going slow, I suggest you go even slower. When using the thin up, thick down, that is mostly talking about using the brush pen. You really can't do that, thin up, thick down, when using your Sharpie. You can practice it with your pencil, and it actually does in fact work. Let me just show you. We can go thin up, which means I'm just pressing lightly. I'm going to go thick down, which means I'm pressing firmly. And there's a definite difference between those two. So if you want to start practicing your thin up, thick down, you can absolutely start with your pencil. But the thing that is important is practicing these skills as a whole, because each of these skills creates a letter. And if you recall at the beginning, I said lettering is lines and curves that make letters. And you can see what I mean. If you look at an A, for example, it is an oval with a tail. Your B is a thin up, thick down, thin up, thick down, and an oval. Every single one of these will make a letter. Okay, we're going to get up close and personal here. You need to see what I'm doing. We're starting with the pencil because it's not nearly as intimidating as a pen. And when you're creating these downstrokes, you think, oh, it's a line, Desiree. What's so big about a line? There's nothing so big about a line until you get the brush pen in your hand and you try and do the line. And for some reason, when you start here, all sorts of things happen between here, between point A and point B. I don't know what it is. It's a mind game. So the idea is the more you practice and the more you get it down, muscle memory will take over once the pen gets in your hand. But that's what's extremely important, is if you're going to go from A to B, don't think about what's going on in between. Start on A and focus on B so that you're going to go here to here. Don't think about the in-between. Just think about finishing your line and getting to the B. You're going to do the same with your overturn and your underturn. You're going to go thin up and thick down. And you're going to wonder, what do you mean? If you look here, I did thin up and thick down. Really, with a pencil, it's light up, dark down. I'm going to do the same again. Light up, dark down. You're doing this in preparation to start using the brush pen, okay? It's extremely difficult to go against the muscle memory that you've been practicing since you started to write. So right now, it's just a matter of learning simple shapes, but these simple shapes will in turn, if you recall, make a letter. This here also makes an H, a B, and an M. The upturn helps with the U, the W, and the Y. So your job for today is just to practice these strokes. Feel free to write right on the paper or use tracing paper, whatever is most comfortable, and I will come back tomorrow and we will start practicing our letters.